Salute, salute, salute. Peace and power, peace and power. I thank the universal truth and the absolute laws of nature for guiding me, protecting me, and giving me the strength to endure the imperfect. I shall attack with vigor, making progressive moves. A divine mind knows, a divine mind shows. All things work in divine order. All things work in divine order. All things work in divine order. Peace and power to the people of the struggle. Salute, salute, salute. Peace and power to all those who suffer through mental illness. Salute, salute, salute. As you come on in this class, as you come on into this build, as you come on into this space, know that this is a space of love. Know that this is a space of encouraging words. Know that this is a space that encourages you to think, encourages you to question, encourages you to answer and seek solution on our path to liberation. Know that you are loved in this space. Know that you are strong in this space. Grow this space, grow this class, grow this tribe. As my classroom assistants come on in, please make sure the green screen information is in the chat. Make sure all contact information is in the chat for anger management, for domestic violence, for life guiding and coaching. I watched the video yesterday. Quite a few people had sent it to me. And I wasn't going to comment. I really wasn't. I was not going to speak on this because, for one, I wasn't sure if this was some type of AI, if this was some type of prank, if it was a joke, if it was something scripted. So I waited. I actually waited on it. It just didn't appear to be authentic when I saw it. As the night went on, as the playoff game started to subside, and I was shutting it down for the evening, I noticed that the video was gaining ground. But I also noticed that no major broadcasted news outlets were speaking on the incident, and none were speaking about the video. Okay. So as I always do, I take it to social media. Of course, I checked Twitter and YouTube. At the time I checked YouTube and I searched his name, all I saw were videos of Jordan Neely, a Michael Jackson impersonator, dancing, dressed as 80s Mike Jack. You understand? There was nothing on his demise. So I got up in the morning, I started seeing more videos. Or more people speaking of the video. Again, I went on with my day. As you all know, this is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I do my check-ins. People who may have had an assessment and never returned. People who have an assessment in a few sessions and haven't returned yet. People who consistently hit me every day. I made my rounds yesterday, and as I explained, one of our tribes people, young person, her brother took his own life. Mental health issues were what appears to be until we get further information on it. But we knew he had struggles because of the labels that he attached to himself, right? Unemployed, young, black, child support, you know. They found him nude in front of the projects early in the morning. Questions of whether he jumped or it was foul play. So I understand what people are going through. Definitely understand and make my best to help, to be a part of the help, to be a part of someone's plan. So as I watch the video, I'm just analyzing. Now I'm really looking at it as a day in, and there are little protests popping up. Protests in the actual subway where he lost his demise, a couple of protests in the street, and now as more information is coming, we're starting to hear a lot. So if nobody is up to speed, and as I am sure that the majority of our out-of-towners haven't been brought up to speed because it's not a national story yet. As the weekend comes upon us and the weather gets a little bit warmer for our weekend warrior ambulance chasing activists, I'm sure that this weekend there'll be a lot of protests, a lot of people angry and voicing their opinions about it. But to bring y'all up to speed, Jordan Neely was a New York City subway performer. He was a Michael Jackson impersonator, from what we know so far. Remember, I always tell you there is more to a person than what we see, than what is represented. I'm quite sure that he had family, he had associates, he had friends, he had people who can better frame up who he is, who he was in a historical sense. But right now, we know that he was a Michael Jackson impersonator dancing in the subways, probably on West 4th Street in the Village, maybe all the way up to 42nd Street. Okay? And he was doing it because he had financial struggles. We are hearing that he was homeless and more than likely was in the subways to get food as a performer. Now there's tapes or videos of him that I've seen on Google that date back 2 or 3 years. So probably was doing it even longer, even pre-pandemic. Okay? So from what we're getting, the alleged story is that he was having a mental health crisis on the subway yesterday, screaming that he was hungry, screaming that he didn't have any money, screaming that he felt as if he wanted to die, and began throwing trash around the subway. At some point, he gets into an argument with a Caucasian, appears appears to be Caucasian, right? Young man that we know of as 24 years of age. No video of the alleged mental breakdown of Mr. Jordan Neely. However, at a certain point, when the video begins, we see him already on the subway ground in a chokehold. This alleged Marine is choking him. He has another individual holding Mr. Neely's arm and another onlooker who is here and there in it. So these three individuals are there. The alleged Marine is choking Mr. Neely out. Mr. Neely is trying to move. The other individual is holding his arms, and someone is filming it. Now we see three people in the frame, and we see a melanated brother in the back of the train, probably about 3 or 4 feet away watching. Whoever is filming is talking, inaudible at certain points. But by the time he releases this chokehold, and for some reason the video is edited, you can see it, he says, once he's defecated on himself, he said, I'm a veteran too, I'm an ex-whatever service member, and once somebody's defecated on himself, they're out. Now these three individuals are just looking at him. One of them is, again, pushing him, rifling through his clothes. Mr. Neely is out. None of them are making an attempt to help him. So he's choked out. They know that he's defecated on himself. And if you really know what you're doing, once you know somebody is defecated on himself, they have lost all organ function. It's not just he's out. From what witnesses are saying, that it was a 15-minute altercation. Again, they don't appear to be police or officers, but there were other melanated folks on that train, and we don't know the ethnicity of whoever it is that is filming. But we do know no one came to his assistance, no one came to his aid. No one came to his aid, no one came to his assistance. A man having a mental health crisis on the subway, okay? And no one helped. Now it sounds off, but what is really off is that when police arrive, they take the men in for questioning and release them. No one is arrested at this point. It would be different for a lot of folks, because when you hear that they weren't arrested, right? People from out of the city, out of the state, they don't understand what a New York City arrest is, right? So when you're saying they weren't arrested, they were let go, you're making an assumption that they would just let go from the train station. No, they were taken into a precinct, questioned, and let go. They were questioned and let go, regardless of if it was a mobile precinct, regardless if they were in police vehicles and detained. They were stopped and questioned about someone who was out, taken to a hospital, and had succumbed to their injuries. Knowing through the line of questioning that these individuals are at fault. Now, see, people are going to wait till the story unravels and come out more and more and more. I'm telling you, as someone who has had numerous encounters with NYPD, and from all of the viral videos that you have been seeing, really just in the past year, never mind during the pandemic and never mind pre-pandemic, you know it takes absolutely nothing to get arrested in New York City. Nothing. At all. At all. We just watch NYPD choke a man uptown. Choke him. The female officer pounded him, beat him down for nothing. Nothing. For just bracing up. Black man. Black man. Just for talking reckless. Just for bracing up. Was choked and assaulted by NYPD. That is nothing new. And the female officer punching, forearming, all that. They gave him the business. Gave him the business. Beat him up out his jacket and all that. For just talking. Just for being boisterous. These three individuals were able to walk away from police custody after a man lost his life is absurd. Absurd. Never mind that they are not DAs and don't know what a charge is. Never mind that they are not judges or attorneys. They are officers of the law. And questioning at that point, you know that there's at least reckless endangerment. There's at least, right? That man lost his life. This is in the very least reckless endangerment charge. In the very least manslaughter. These men, again, lynched a melanated person in full view of everyone who was on that train. Everyone. Now, of course, people are going to be triggered. Of course. Of course, as people start to hear the story. Now it's a multi-layered issue. He was homeless right after the eve of them voting whether or not to increase rent stabilized apartments. He was homeless, suffered mental illness in Mental Illness Awareness Month, Mental Health Awareness Month. And he was a melanated person. He was a black person, a black man. So you're going to get it from now until we get answers. You're going to hear all type of people come out with all type of narratives. You're going to hear everyone start to scream this individual brother's name. Because they're doing it already. They're doing it already. I've seen them at the station. And for y'all who don't know, that is a very eclectic part of the city. We're talking about Soho, NoHo. We're talking about the village. For those who do not know, who are not familiar with our city, that is the village. That is one of the bases, one of the melting pots, one of where you see all type of despair, and at the next level, all type of wealth. You got NYU around there. You have shopping. You have the clubs. You have large population of everybody. From Rainbow Crew to the Blue Bloods. Everybody travels in that area. Models going to Spring and Prince Street. You got everybody down there. That is NYC. That's it. You can get some shoes for $4,000 and then go 2 blocks over and get a pair of shoes for $40,000. That's what that area looks like. All type of busyness is going on down there. So you're going to have it. Village Voice used to be located down there. You got everything. Source Magazine used to be located down there. Russell Simmons Tower Records in his penthouse. Everything is in that area. So you're going to see it. You're going to hear the outrage. You're going to get it. They're going to be trying to trigger you. They're going to work on people's emotions. Because this homeless, melanated Michael Jackson impersonator lost his life. Lost his life at the hands of a 24-year-old who had no business putting his hands on him at all. 24. I want you to think about the 24-year-olds in your households. I want you to think about your 24-year-old son. I want you to think about your 24-year-old nephew, your 24-year-old brother. And think, what would happen to him if he choked out and caused a homeless white man to lose his life on the subway? Where would he be? And again, I said, you know I've said it, we do not speak of double standards in this class. We speak on actuality, reality. If any of us or anyone we know, any melanated person would have had no business doing it, but have taken our arm and put it around a European neck and choked them until they lost their life on the subway. Where would we be? Where would our relative be? They did not name this 24-year-old for whatever reason. I do not know. They did not name the others who was with him. For whatever reason, I do not know. They're not minors. You withheld that information if they're minors. Or if there's something else cooking. And trust me, whenever we find out who this individual is, you're going to find out a lot. You're going to find out a lot. Do not be surprised about who he is, who his family is, what organizations, what foundations, what faith, and what mentality he has. Mark my words. And again, this type of stuff only goes on when at the top seats of these administrations, we have melanated people to call into question their loyalties. We have a melanated mayor, a melanated police commissioner, and in Manhattan, a melanated DA, right? Oh, and on the federal level, a melanated woman. So if at any point this man and his family and the rest of New York don't see justice for this, and I'm calling it early, it will blow your mind. The federal level, the state level, the local level. These are all melanated people. All melanated people. You got Trish James for the feds, in case you want to go civil and all this other weirdness. You got Eric Adams as the mayor. You got his commissioner. And you got the Manhattan DA. Again, I could not give y'all an excuse or a reason. There's absolutely no reason, but I can't even think of an excuse to give you a wondering of why these men weren't arrested, that why they were released, and damn for sure. Now that it's going viral, why they haven't been identified, why their names aren't plastered all through the internet. Now, in this class, we know what's what, because we speak about it often. We do not expect anything to come from that. So, how should our feelings be repaired? How should our emotions, how should our intellects be repaired after watching another lynching? Who of us is going to spin the block? Who of us? I just want to know. Because we've had a whole lot of talk over the past year on these social media platforms and sites about who's gangster, who's bout it, who's thugging, who's conscious, who's this, who's that. We've had people fighting each other at courthouses. We've had all type of foolishness. We have people that told us we need to donate to get this museum. We need to donate to get this school. We need a whole lot of stuff. Who amongst them are going to make sure that we get repaired for this lynching here? Now, all I can do is continue to educate and teach. So all I can do is show from my experience, from my action, how to proceed and tell you to believe in you as much as I do. But I'm telling you, we don't have to wait for any of that to take place. Because we got people that troll me every day from several different accounts. We got troll masters. We got people who can find your IP address and where you at in real time. So I'm sure that somebody on the internet, somebody in social media, some of these grand wizards who can take your money and flip it into Bitcoin and flip it into all this and can get you real estate and do all this fineness, can find out who these three individuals are and pass that information on. I'm sure of it. Because you see what we get when we wait. He was able to be choked out for 15 minutes. I know that subway well. My cronies know that subway well. Broadway Lafayette, tunnels all through there. Transfer points all through there. That's why it's a bed for the homeless. That's why it's a bed for the criminal elements and all that. You go all through there, in and out, popping up here and there. It's also police heavy. So we know already what their plan is. Figure out the story to sell New York City. The same way they sold the story about the Central Park 5. The same way they sold the story about Eleanor Bumpers. This is how early on they had no respect for mental health crisis. I mean, they just shot an over 70-year-old man. Kill him. Shot him. And numerous others they done clapped. Police clapped them. It's in the past few weeks. No questions asked. Just pop. You mean to tell me you couldn't just hold these individuals? You mean to tell me you got to think about the charge? Witnesses report he attacked no one. So he, again, was hungry. As I tell you all the time, sad hats. One of your triggers in anger management, sad hats. The H is for hunger. If you already are mentally ill and you are hungry, you can't think, you're triggered. I don't know how many times I've seen people yelling in the street, talking to themselves in the street, wailing out to themselves in the street. People walk past, maybe scared and move over. No one has I ever seen take it upon themselves to choke someone to death. So before it gets hot, before it's a hot topic, as I always do, I speak on it. I have to, because it's a teachable moment. Among the other 1,000 other teachable moments that we have discussed in these classes, we have to remain military minded. Again and again and again, we have to remain as soldiers because of the prejudice nature of this country, the stereotypical behavior towards us in this country, the racial bias in this country, and the overall hate for your skin. They hate the skin you're in. Don't go into the narrative that they hate black people or they hate me because I'm black. They don't know you. Because there are blacks that they love. There are blacks that they like. There are blacks that they sleep with. There are blacks who they suck on. They just automatically are taught to hate your skin. And because of that, their youth has been ignited. They have the green light. All of these mass shootings are young people. Dylan Roof, young. The dude in Buffalo, young. These are young people. Where do they get the ideas to murder black people? Where do they get that idea from? That is an ingrained belief system. Yet we bash and banter and bombard our people to believe that we should love them, trust them, work for them, go amongst them, be at the Met Gala with them. We want to hold title and tell them, no, he's liberal, he's moderate. And we can work and galvanize and talk and speak with each other and make a way and find solution. Keep thinking that. You're going to keep hearing it from now until we get some answers for this. But I'm asking you, what are you going to do? How are we going to operate? Where's our young people at who ride these subways? So I don't know the man. I don't know his family. All I can do is teach my class. Okay? That's all I can do is teach my class. Educate my tribe. That is it. If you don't believe me at this point, that we need to separate, that we need to engage with ourselves, it is nothing else that anyone else can do or say. And I mean, we've had the best. We had the best. We had the best, baby. And trust me, I'm not the best orator. I'm far from the best educator. I'm a man of action. At this point, what's left? What's left? So until later on, my tribe come back to me with 10 fingers and 10 toes. If the green screen popped off and I didn't see it, please excuse me. I didn't see it. But again, don't be surprised about who is going to be speaking about this, who's going to be showing up. And I'm telling y'all, there's absolutely no excuse for this man to not have had immediate justice immediately. Just a mere arrest and hold of those who we can clearly see is responsible for his death, his demise. All right? Again, don't believe in me, believe in my belief in you. Get home safe. There's a war going on outside. No man is safe from. There is a war going on. Okay? Trust and believe me. There is a war going on. Get home safe. Educate yourself and remain militant. Salute.